So it's not just your marriage. It's somebody else's marriage that we breaking up now. And how in the world you got a husband and 7 kids? 7 kids and a husband. And you got time for Ken Paxton? I didn't even think Angela should have had time for Ken Paxton. Why, hello. Shout out to all the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I'm Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Well, y'all saw it.
This campaign is not about red versus blue. It's about so much more. My opponent is the most extreme radical the Democrats have ever nominated. He's even running a vegan campaign, whatever that is. He goes by a few names that you may all have heard of. Some people know him as Tofu Talarico. Some people call him Six-Gender Jimmy. I've even heard some people call him James Talarico. And others refer to him simply as Low T Talarico.
Boo this man!
Let me tell you
You are listening to the Texas Attorney General, now the projected Republican candidate.
Texas, come on down. Texas, come on down.
I was torn because I was going to go with Cornyn.
Mm-hmm.
But then Trump backed, and I like who he backs, and so I went Republican.
So the president's endorsement was the deciding factor for you?
Yeah, it was.
I made one vote, and that was for Cornyn.
And why is that?
Primarily because he's not supported by Trump.
Oh, so President Trump's decision to endorse Paxton went against
Absolutely.
him. And why is that?
I think he's ruined my Republican Party. I think he's divided America. I think he's bad news. And I still lean Republican, so I voted for Cornyn.
Come on down, Texas. Because, you know, Texas loves to talk about what renegades they are. Texas loves to talk about don't tread on me. Everything's bigger in Texas. Don't mess with Texas. I think he just messed with Texas. I'm pretty sure he just messed with Texas. I mean, the way y'all following around like that is sad. But here's the crazy thing about it, though. Here's the crazy thing about it, because I've talked on this platform quite a bit about the degrees of self-owning, the degrees of FAFO that you have waiting in your future that you've experienced up to this point. We've already discussed that. But let me take you through that, Texas. Let me just take you through that. And it's going to be in a few easy steps. A few easy steps. I'll walk you right, because I know you're all trying to dismantle the education system and all that. I'm going to take you through it in a few easy steps. Now, I'm sure you probably are aware by now of just how unpopular Donald Trump is. I'm sure you're aware.
And it's not just the New York Times poll. This is what I think is so important. Yes, the Times poll got people talking, but it just follows a slew of polling data that all shows the same thing, and that is that Donald Trump is not just under 40%. He's well under 40% in terms of his approval rating. 37% New York Times. CBS came out on Sunday, 37%. Ipsos, 36%. Our CNN poll, 35%. You put it all together, and it is just very clear at this point that Donald Trump is hitting new lows in his polling data.
Every poll just gets worse. Your man out here doing John Cornyn numbers, if we being honest. Your man doing John Cornyn numbers nationally. Okay? And quite frankly, if y'all really love Trump that much, y'all would have had Paxton down in the 30s with Trump. If you love him, if you really love him that much, you know what I mean? Your man down in the mid 30s right now, okay? And the question that has to be asked is, how does that manifest itself in actual elections? Well, we'll get a real true answer to that in November. But all we have up to this point that we could possibly reflect on is special elections, just to see how people will react. A trend that can't be ignored, Dems have made up ground in nearly every special election since Trump took office. Politico's analysis shows a clear trend in red and blue districts alike. Red and blue districts. And here you can see nearly all state and federal elections have shifted left since 2024. Shift in two-party vote share for each state and federal election compared to the district's 2024 presidential vote since January 2025.
I say, and then I start to smell them. So it's like a smell that tastes like.
You have to ask yourself, you say, okay, Trump is historically unpopular, and we have seen these massive shifts left ever since he has taken office. But of course, Trump would want the best for the party. You know, Trump would always do the best for the party, you know, because he's so selfless, you know, because he's a man who always makes sure to take care of those that have been loyal to him, you know, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, or like Lauren Boebert, or like his own son, whose wedding he just missed. You know, the kind of man who always puts himself last. So naturally, he's somebody who you can trust when it comes to you making sure that you have a voice and you are well represented when it comes to November, right?
By the way, isn't that breeze nice? Do you feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care.
Trump, quote, doesn't care about midterm results and is resigning himself to Republican losses. Democrats are predicted to retake the House in 2026 midterms, but major legal decisions on voting maps could boost the GOP. Donald Trump is reportedly resigned to projected Democratic victories in the midterms and has allegedly told aides he doesn't care about the outcome. That's interesting. That's interesting. He does not care about the outcome of the midterms. Now, I believe he cares somewhat about the outcome of the midterms because he certainly doesn't want Congress standing in the way of him pushing his agenda. But when it comes to him caring about the outcome for the health of the Republican Party, well, then you have to ask yourself, has he done and said the things that would help the party in November? You know, has he been out here when we're having national conversations about affordability, calling it a hoax? Or can you clip a video of him literally saying he doesn't think about America's finances? Or how about the Epstein files are a hoax? You know, is he doing and saying the things that would help the party in November? Is he giving you somebody that centrists, independents, and maybe even some disillusioned Democrats might be able to glom onto? Is that what he's doing?
Did you vote for?
Cornyn.
And why did you vote for Cornyn?
Because Trump did not endorse him.
Really? That was a big fact.
Yes. It makes me sick that the Republican Party is completely controlled by one man, Trump.
If Paxton wins the nomination, could you vote for him in the general election?
Hell no. No way.
Is that what he's doing? Or is he taking out petty slights like we've seen in Indiana and Louisiana? Or favoring the one that has the most fealty to him, as we see here in Texas with Ken Paxton? It was clear night as day who the most electable of your two candidates was when it came to a general election. But doing the best thing for the party or the best thing for literally anybody else has never been Donald Trump's bag, now has it? So let me get this straight, MAGA. So you have taken a historically unpopular president that has caused special election losses all across America since he's been in office, who actively has shown a complete disregard for the party and the health of the Republican brand moving forward. And that's who Texas. Don't mess with Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. That's who y'all decided to follow in the special election. When we have these conversations about putting the country back together again, right? Can we sit down at the table and look one another eye to eye? This is what makes it so hard, Texas. This is what makes it so hard. And a lot of times people have a feeling of permanence to these kinds of labels that get attached to, say, a jurisdiction or a state like Texas, or a candidate or a movement. In the case of Donald Trump and MAGA being conservative, you know, people get attached to those kinds of labels, but I'm not that kind of person. If this is how you decide to move Texas, ain't gonna be no more Don't Mess with Texas. We just seen it. We just seen it. Ain't gonna be no more of that. No, we're not doing that no more.
I be quiet, but when he leave, I be talking again.
It's one thing for me to see Ken Paxton and just think of how wild it is that he is a major party nominee for state office and Senate at that. But the man is your active attorney general. So you remember that part? It kind of reminds me of Mark Robinson a little bit, don't it? It kind of reminds me of Mark Robinson. When Mark Robinson's jacket was so crazy, and you were like, not only did this dude get like 30-40% of the vote, he was lieutenant governor. I was like, he's lieutenant governor. I'm like, how much free time does the lieutenant governor have if he could be on Nude Africa? I don't understand. They need to give him more responsibility. You know what I mean? They need to, come on. They need to give him more. And how much of the taxpayers' money paying for all this pizza? Just like Mark Robinson, this man is holding state office currently. Now, you remember that thing I just said about people get attached to labels and feel like there's a bit of a permanence to them. I'm not one of those people. And the thing that I brought up often here on this platform is when it comes to patriotism, the fact that Republicans and MAGAs act like they have the market cornered on patriotism, despite actively eroding democracy. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. No. Now, you come up off them flags. Just because you were able to pay $19.95 online and get some gaudy to hang in your front yard does not a true American patriot make. Not moving like this. It sure enough doesn't. But let's talk about one thing that was said today. I took issue at the time, but I'm going to take even bigger issue with it right now. and they were talking about Montgomery County in Texas and how it was so deeply conservative. You know, the county that has, had the biggest plurality for Donald Trump in the 2024 election. And conservative is interesting. It's an interesting word to use, conservative. That's something that people use to characterize people in the South, certainly something that people use to characterize Texas. Well, let's take a look at that conservatism now, shall we? We got a little bit more insight into that conservatism, did we not? We got a little bit more insight. We got, oh, no, wait. This is the wrong one. Okay, cheater, Texas Attorney General and Christian influencer mistress, secret new $2 million love nest revealed. I ain't even mean that one. Okay, we're going to have to come back around to that one. We're going to have to come back around to that one. How about this one, though? Adam Hoffman. How about that? How about that? Released from jail for good behavior. Hoffman, the 49-year-old Waco, Texas attorney who faced life without parole for assault of a young boy until Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton offered him 1 day in jail and no need to register as an offender. A judge increased his sentence to a whopping 60 days. He got out in 30. And there you see him walking out as we speak. Conservative? Conservative, yeah. Yeah. They're conservative. That's what we're going for. That's what we're going for. And by the way, as wild as that is, right? Hey, Ken Paxton, I'm an ex-Waco child abuse prosecutor. While you are focused on bathroom stalls, I'm focused on why you allowed Adam Hoffman to assault a child, and he's still a member of good standing of the Texas bar. Not just a sweetheart deal with 1 day in jail that a judge had to rectify, but still in good standing with the Texas bar. That is the brand now, isn't it? That is the brand. That is the brand. Conservative. This ain't all the files. This is not all the files. Half these names are blacked out. This page right here look like UPN Friday night. Ain't nothing but black on here. And I know exactly who it is. Why is he protected? Oh, because he donated? All the tax breaks he get, that was basically my money he donated. Where's my protection? You already know. While the haves protect themselves and each other, they do nothing when your phone numbers, addresses, and bank accounts are being attacked. And you know who that helps? Data brokers that take all the information they can find on you and sell it without your knowledge. And creeps. It also helps creeps. We know this because the bill that would have required data brokers to get your consent before selling your information is circling the drain like this Congress. This is where today's sponsor, Aura, comes in. Data brokers do have to remove your information if you tell them, but they make it as hard as possible. But Aura does the hard work for you, constantly scanning the dark web and submitting opt-outs on your behalf. Give Aura a few weeks and you'll stop seeing your information on these sketchy sites when you search yourself. They also include features like dark web monitoring, fraud alerts, a VPN, and more. Aura is truly a great deal if you want to be more private and protected online. You can go to my link, aura.com/ReeseWaters. That's aura.com/ReeseWaters to try 14 days for free. That's enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal information off these data broker sites automatically. Conservative. Let's see exactly what a conservative hero looks like. Why don't we do that? Why don't we? That feels like the thing to do. In 2008, when Paxton was a Texas House member representing McKinney, the Associated Press reported he and another lawmaker had investments in a company that got millions from state contracts that Paxton had voted on through state spending bills. State contracts that he was voting on, and he was no wonder Trump likes him.
Another one.
We got him in 2013 stealing another lawyer's pen, which is hilarious because this was caught on video. This was an $1,000 pen, which is crazy. I honestly.
Another one.
We got 2015 securities fraud charges. The year Paxton assumed office of Attorney General also kicked off a 9-year legal saga over securities fraud felony charges. He was indicted in the late summer of 2015 over accusations of defrauding investors, according to the Chronicle.
Another one.
How about we go to 2020? An FBI investigation of bribery and abuse of office accusations. The FBI? Wait a minute, 2020 FBI. 2020, who would have been in charge? Who would have been in charge of the 2020?
Another one.
A group of conservative attorneys who worked in Paxton's office reported him to the FBI in October 2020, accusing him of bribery and abuse of office. Once again, a group of conservative attorneys accused him of bribery and abuse of office.
Another one.
2020 sued for firing whistleblowers. After reporting Paxton to the FBI in 2020, at least 4 of the attorneys who worked in his office were fired and promptly sued the Attorney General for violating the Texas Whistleblower Act, which prohibits employers from taking action against public employees who report violations of the law.
Another one.
In 2022, you got him contesting the 2020 election results. The State Bar of Texas sued Paxton for professional misconduct in 2022 after he brought a lawsuit against Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin over discredited election fraud claims. The Supreme Court threw out Paxton's lawsuit, saying Texas lacked the standing to sue other states over their election procedures. Now, there is shameless pandering, and there is you suing other states over Trump's big lie. That's honestly, Texas, come on, Texas. No, because y'all like to act all big and bad. Y'all like that. Y'all got so much pride in yourselves and puff up your chest. Huh? You got a used car salesman up here failing upward time and time again, and that's who y'all decide to ride with? To back a man at 35% approval who told you he don't care about you or the party? Yeah. You do you. Honestly, you do you. That's nasty work. I want better for you. I want better for you. Despite the fact that a lot of y'all's Cowboys fans, I'm going to let that go for right now. I'm going to let that go. You know, I'm going to let that go for right now. You know what I mean? I want better for you.
Listen to everybody. Nobody believes in you.
You can't want it for them. I'm learning that as a parent. You can't want it for them. You know, they gotta do. But you know, maybe I have already revealed the answer to myself because they used to this kind of loss. Maybe that's it. Y'all used to this kind of loss. Y'all take these kind of losses every December and January. All right, maybe that's it. They had a candidate in Cornyn. They say he might be able to go far. You know what I mean? We might be able to win a playoff game with Cornyn. They like, we don't want that. We're not used to that. We don't know how to do that. It's been too long.
Finger licking good special. That's what I'm talking about.
Say it.
Another one.
Your boy was impeached in May 2023 after the mounting FBI investigation and whistleblower lawsuit. The Texas House Investigation Committee unveiled 20 articles of impeachment against Paxton based on the abuse of office and bribery charges. The investigation centered around Paxton misusing his office to aid Neil Paul's legal issues. The House voted 121 to 33 to impeach Paxton, suspending him from office and marking only the third time in history the legislative body has impeached an official. 121 to 33. How many of them you think was Democrats?
Another one.
Now, this is the craziest part right here. This is the craziest part right here. No, this is the craziest part right here. Because if you was Ken Paxton and you had got away with all of that, right? You had got away with all of that. You wake up every day and you look in the mirror and you see Ken Paxton and you realize that there was a woman in America who was willing to call herself your partner. And you didn't hang on for dear life. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If I woke up one day and I looked like Ken Paxton and you told me there was a woman that was willing to take me into her home, I would never steal again. I would never sin again. Wow. Take it all. Take it all. This man had the nerve. This man had the nerve to step out on a woman who took in Ken Paxton. That's the kind of judgment? That's the kind of judgment. Huh? That's the kind of judgment? That's what we're doing? In 2025, the Attorney General's wife, State Senator Angela Paxton, took to social media to announce she was filing for divorce. Today, after 38 years of marriage, I filed for divorce on biblical grounds, she wrote in her post. I believe marriage is a sacred covenant, and I have earnestly pursued reconciliation. But in light of recent discoveries, I do not believe that it honors God or is loving to myself, my children, or kin to remain in the marriage. Although Angela Paxton did not expand on her recent discoveries, the divorce announcement came after years of publicly reported infidelity by her husband.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Angela, I gotta holler at you. I gotta holler at you. Now, because I know you a state representative in Texas too, so we talking about that kind of judgment. You think I would let Ken Paxton step out on me more than one time? Ladies. No. You don't take in a Ken Paxton if he not coming home and putting his whole check on the table. He better come home, put his whole check on the table for me to step out with you in public. You let Ken Paxton step out on you more than once, you can't want it for him. You can't want it for him. And now we got to talk about what's going on in Texas, that there is a safe harbor at night for Ken Paxton. Huh? What y'all doing? What y'all doing? No, because it's always the conservatives. It's always the conservatives talking about the educational system. And that. What y'all teaching the girls down there? Huh? What y'all teaching the girls down there that is a safe harbor at night for Ken Paxton? He wouldn't be able to kick no game around here. I tell you that right now. It may be some play for pay or something like that, but it ain't gonna be no.
What do you mean by that?
And you talking about years of infidelity. Hey, Angela, I wouldn't have told nobody that. Honestly, I wouldn't have told nobody that. I'd have had to take that one to the grave. I'd have had to take that one. Ain't nobody finding out. Ain't nobody finding out that stepped out on me multiple. Ain't nobody finding that out. No, we're not doing that. No shame. No shame, Texas. And if there's a theme to be had, that's it. No shame.
Another one.
In 2018, Ken Paxton gathered his staff and with his wife by his side confessed to them that he had been having an affair and promised to recommit to his marriage. Then the swirling allegations concerning Paxton's aide to Nate Paul brought his relationship with a former Senate aide into the national spotlight. House impeachment managers alleged that Paxton had asked Paul to hire the woman so he could move to Austin, and that Paul and Paxton had a shared secret Uber account that Paxton used to meet with the woman. A secret Uber account? Wait, you only get a secret Uber account if she's checking the phone. Angela, you was checking the... You know how embarrassing that is that you got to check Ken Paxton's phone? You know how embarrassing that is that you got to check Ken Paxton's phone? Hey, I'm sending love. I'm sending love and light to anybody that is in Texas who lives in Angela Paxton's district. I question the judgment. I honestly question her standards. Her standards are wild. You know what I mean? I feel like y'all could aim higher. I feel like y'all could aim higher because her sights is way too low. If that's what she do, she can't be a good public representative with that level of self-esteem. She can't. She can't. Let's just call that what it is. Ain't no way.
Another one.
You got mortgage fraud investigations in 2025, 2 weeks after Angela Paxton announced she was filing for divorce. And then in 2026, because why let 2026 go by without a scandal, suing and investigating Texas organizations. As he campaigned for the Senate, he's used the Attorney General's office to file a flurry of lawsuits against everybody from doctors to tech companies and local school districts.
But wait, there's more.
Now, that was the historical record. Okay? That was the historical record. That was before we got into, the Adam Hoffmans and stuff like that, that literally is popping off this week. This week. You know how y'all like, oh, well, Trump is just a baby Christian. He turned his life around. We all said he turned his life. This week. Now, of all the things that have really blew my mind about all of this, and it's so much here. It's so much here. All the things that really blew my mind about all of this, and we got that comment earlier today, who talked about not only were the rumors and the stories of his infidelity public, his mistresses was public. Ain't no way in the world I'm going on record with that one. Ain't no way I'm going on record with that one. What's wrong with society today? What's wrong with society today? Huh? What's wrong with society today? I'm minding my own business. I don't bother nobody. I'm minding my own business. And I look up and see this here. Texas Attorney General caught in shocking sex scandal as details of secret affair with married Christian influencer mom of 7 are exposed. There you have it. There you have it. There you have it. Just when it can't get any more conservative. we get a married Christian influencer, mom of 7. So it's not just your marriage, it's somebody else's marriage that we breaking up now. And how in the world you got a husband and 7 kids? 7 kids and a husband. And you got time for Ken Paxton? I didn't even think Angela should have had time for Ken Paxton. You got a whole nother husband and 7 kids and you got time for Ken Paxton? One day, those kids, and I don't know how old they are, but one day all those kids gonna be old enough to understand what was happening when they were growing up and mommy was gone. Ken Paxton, no. John Cornyn didn't answer the phone.
You can't keep getting away with it. You can't keep getting away with it.
No, Shane. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And Texas too. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to understand how y'all could have gotten to a point to decide this was your man's. But this how y'all moving on the regular. He's the current attorney general. Got wife and mistresses all over the state. So this is just regular for y'all, apparently. Apparently, this is regular for y'all. But here's the thing that can't go ignored about all of this. As much as it is nasty work to have an attorney general, you know, a man who purports to enforce our laws, have this much baggage, both professional and personal. As nasty as that work is, what's even nastier is the same people that decided all of that was okay. None of that was disqualifying. Always jump up to pass judgment on the people on the other side of town. It's always the culture is rotten. They didn't have fathers in the home. They can't be trusted. But y'all just nominated Ken Paxton. So you remember that whole thing about how labels get attached to certain people and groups of people and strata in our society? Yeah, see, I don't really roll like that. You get to determine exactly how we characterize you. And Texas Maga, Ken Paxton, y'all have given us all of the information on how we will characterize y'all from now on. Yeah, ain't gonna be no whole lot of judgment coming from that part of these United States.
You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you?
But the fact that he is even a major party nominee for a Senate seat makes it an L for the entire country. And I would love to see y'all ever try and characterize somebody else's candidate or somebody else's culture after this.